The disappearance of Rome's Ninth Legion remains one of history's greatest mysteries. 6,000 elite soldiers vanished in ancient Britain's misty Highlands. What happened to these warriors? Let's explore the clues they left behind. The story begins around 120 AD, when the Ninth Legion was stationed in York, Britain. These weren't just any soldiers, they were some of Rome's finest, with a proud history stretching back to the time of Julius Caesar. The legion had about 6,000 men, complete with cavalry, archers, and heavy infantry. Britain wasn't exactly a peaceful posting. The local tribes were fierce fighters who knew the land well. The Romans faced constant raids and rebellions, especially in the untamed northern regions. The Ninth Legion had been tasked with maintaining control over these areas, building forts and patrolling the wild frontier. But something went terribly wrong. The last clear record we have of the Ninth Legion is from York, and after that, they simply vanish from history. The last confirmed sighting of the Ninth Legion places them at their base in York, a massive fortress that served as their home. Recent archaeological digs have uncovered fascinating items: broken pottery, worn coins, and personal belongings that tell us about their daily lives. The Roman records show the legion was still active around 108 AD, busy with normal duties like building walls and guarding the frontier. But after 120 AD, something strange happens. The Ninth Legion disappears from all official Roman documents. This wasn't normal, as Romans were very careful record keepers. They documented everything from soldiers' pay to their battle positions. The sudden silence in the records has puzzled historians for centuries. We've found traces of fire damage in parts of the York fortress, hinting at possible violence, but nothing conclusive enough to solve the mystery. The northern frontier of Roman Britain, known as Caledonia, was a dangerous place that would make even the bravest Roman soldier nervous. Think dense forests, foggy mountains, and marshlands that could swallow entire armies. The local tribes here were experts at guerrilla warfare, using the rough terrain to their advantage. They would strike quickly from the shadows and disappear back into the misty highlands before the Romans could respond. These warriors painted themselves blue with woad dye and fought with a fierce determination to protect their homeland. For the Ninth Legion, venturing into this territory meant facing not just human enemies, but also the brutal weather, unfamiliar terrain, and the constant threat of ambush. The Romans were used to fighting in open battlefields, but here in Caledonia, their traditional tactics often failed them. The archaeological trail of the Ninth Legion has left us with tantalizing clues scattered across northern Britain. At various sites we've found Roman helmets, broken weapons, and pieces of armor that might have belonged to these lost soldiers. Some of these items show signs of battle damage, with sword cuts and burn marks telling silent stories of their final moments. In York, archaeologists discovered a mass grave containing Roman soldiers, though we can't be certain they belonged to the Ninth. What's really interesting is the discovery of Roman military equipment far north of Hadrian's Wall, places where the legion wasn't supposed to be. These findings include coins, pottery, and personal items like brooches and rings. Each artifact adds another piece to this historical puzzle, though the full picture remains frustratingly unclear. The Picts were Rome's most feared opponents in northern Britain, and they gave the Ninth Legion plenty of reasons to worry. These skilled fighters weren't just random raiders. They were organized warriors who knew every hill and valley of their homeland. They used hit-and-run tactics that confused the Romans, attacking supply lines and isolated units before melting back into the landscape. The Picts had a reputation for being absolutely fearless in battle, charging into combat with light weapons and shields that let them move quickly through difficult terrain. They decorated their bodies with detailed tattoos that told stories of their battles and beliefs, making them look even more intimidating to the Roman soldiers. Their knowledge of local paths and hiding spots gave them a massive advantage over the Romans, who were used to fighting on open ground with clear battle lines. The Picts could appear suddenly from the forests or highlands, strike hard, and vanish before the Romans could mount an effective response. Let's look at the three main theories about what happened to these missing soldiers. First, many historians think they fell into a massive ambush. The Picts might have lured them into a narrow valley or dense forest, attacking from all sides when the Romans couldn't use their usual fighting formations. The second theory suggests disease might have been the culprit. The cold, wet climate of northern Britain was perfect for spreading sickness, and without modern medicine, a bad outbreak could devastate an entire army. The third possibility is less dramatic but interesting. Some experts believe the legion was simply moved to another part of the empire and got lost in the paperwork. We've found hints that some 9th Legion soldiers might have ended up fighting in Germany or the Middle East. The truth could be a mix of all three. Perhaps the legion was weakened by disease, then caught in an ambush, with the survivors being sent elsewhere. Local stories passed down through generations add another layer to the 9th Legion mystery. Scottish folklore tells of Roman soldiers who survived and settled in remote villages, marrying into local families. Some tales describe small bands of legionaries wandering the Highlands, trying to find their way back south. In the Orkney Islands, there's a fascinating story about a group of soldiers who became fishermen and taught locals new building techniques. While we can't prove these stories are true, they give us interesting clues about how local people remembered the legion's disappearance. Some villages in northern Scotland still point to ancient stone houses they say were built by Roman survivors. These stories paint a picture of scattered survivors adapting to a new life far from Rome. The loss of the 9th Legion hit Rome's reputation hard. This wasn't just about missing soldiers. It was a major blow to Roman pride. The eagle standard, their sacred military symbol, was gone too, making the loss even more shameful. This disappearance changed how Rome handled its northern frontier. They became more careful, building Hadrian's Wall to create a clear border between Roman and tribal lands. Other legions became more cautious when operating in Britain, especially in the northern regions. The missing 9th also affected Roman military planning. They started keeping larger backup forces and improved their communication systems. Back in Rome, the loss became a cautionary tale about the dangers of pushing too far into unknown territories. Even today, the missing legion reminds us that even the mightiest armies can vanish when they underestimate their enemies. Recent archaeological work has given us fresh clues about the 9th Legion's fate. In the past decade, scientists have used ground-penetrating radar to find hidden Roman camps across northern Britain. They've discovered burned buildings, broken weapons, and scattered coins that tell us more about the legion's last movements. DNA testing of bones found in mass graves has revealed interesting connections to southern European populations, suggesting they might be Roman soldiers. Metal detectors have turned up Roman military equipment in unexpected places, including areas far north of where the legion was supposed to be. Some of the most exciting finds are personal items, rings with soldiers' names, good luck charms, and letters written on thin sheets of wood. These discoveries are helping us piece together the legion's final days. The disappearance of the 9th Legion changed how Rome handled Britain forever. After losing these elite troops, they built Hadrian's Wall, a massive stone barrier stretching across Britain. This wasn't just a wall. It was Rome admitting they couldn't control the north. Other Roman commanders became more careful, keeping better records of their troops and avoiding risky missions into unknown territory. The story of the lost legion also affected how Romans viewed Britain. They started seeing it as a dangerous, mysterious place where even their best soldiers could vanish. This led to better training for Roman troops in Britain, improved supply lines, and stronger fortifications. Today, the 9th Legion's story reminds us how one event can change the course of history. Their disappearance marked the beginning of Rome's slow retreat from Britain. The 9th Legion's disappearance remains one of history's most fascinating mysteries. While we may never know their true fate, their story lives on. If you enjoyed exploring this ancient puzzle with me, please like, subscribe, and share to join more historical adventures.